Hello and welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL James hobby vlog here on the GBHL podcast, giving you a little bit of an update on my Battle of Five Armies 10mm box set. I've of course been making a little bit of progress with this 10mm scale game, hopefully so that at some point I can do a Let's Try Tuesday here on the GBHL podcast. But I'm also looking to do a bit of a slow grow campaign over on Hot Gates Gaming, and the idea behind that is to encourage me to paint the whole set. And I did of course start things off with the dwarves, the Iron Hills dwarves. The idea of course of this slow grow campaign will be to paint individual parts of the box set, individual armies and forces, learn to play the game and the mechanics whilst I've got smaller forces, and sort of do those individual constituent parts against each other before building up to of course playing the full game and working out how to play Battle of Five Armies, which as I mentioned last time does play very much like Warmaster, if there's anybody out there who plays Warmaster. So we've got the Iron Hills dwarves back there. Nothing different from what I showed you before, apart from the fact that their bases are now complete. So if I just do that slow zoom in there, you'll see that I've actually gone for a little bit of a snow effect on the bases. Now I did actually use bicarb. I know that a lot of people say that it starts to yellow, but it's literally all that I had. So I'll have to do for now. So just a little bit of bicarb on the base, just a bit of PVA glue over the top of the grass, and I'm quite happy with how that's actually turned out as we look down through the ranks. I think one of the nicest things about this 10mm scale is the fact that you just see so many on ranks. Of course we've got Bayonne in the background, and then we've got Dain. Now Dain isn't 100% finished. He's not 100% finished. He is, I would say, 97% finished. So I did try and time in to look a little bit more like the movies. So if I actually zoom in on Dain, the character himself, very slowly, here we go. And as we come in, hopefully you'll see. So some of the, let's see if that's it. Focus. It won't focus. Let's zoom back out. Will that focus? Yeah, there we go. So you can see that I did a couple of things. So I did want him to kind of look a little bit like he does in the movie. So I did go for kind of like a bright red crest across the top of his helmet. I also went for the kind of the reds on the cloth around him, and then I also did a little bit of the kind of like goldy bronze effect to represent his kind of gauntlets, and also on the front of his helmet as well. And then just so that he stood out a little bit, I actually went for the bodyguards to look a little bit more like elders. They've got grey beards, and I actually did some green on them, and I'm just going to flip him around now just to show off a little bit more of that. What I also did on the back is, again, just like indie movies, I've given him a little bit of grass on there, static grass. I'll get that off later. I've given him a kind of a fur coat effect, or a fur cloak effect, sorry. I did realise after I did this that I'd done it kind of like a grey fur, and in the movies it's a brown fur, so I got that wrong off memory, but to be honest it doesn't look too bad. Now one of the big challenges of this guy was of course doing the banners. And I put up on the Great British Hobby League Facebook group what kind of designs and banners would I be doing. Now this was very kind of just going off some of the suggestions. So you can see on the left banner, I've gone for that kind of like tanned colour. So I saw a few of the kind of Iron Hills dwarves banners seem to have lots of tan and red and browns and those types of things, quite angular designs. And really I just kind of set off on this one and just ended up with that kind of design with these sort of diagonal lines and chevrons, and then in the middle there you can see some red mountains representing of course the Iron Hills. Then of course on the one on the right we've got a very kind of geometric dwarven-esque kind of pattern that happens to have a kind of star in the middle, and I've done that on the deep red banner. And then I was going to sort of keep it the same on the back, but I thought, well, I might as well just have a bit of a play. So on the one on the left, it was another banner that I saw just by googling Dain banners. It's kind of like the boar head, so like a kind of boar head design, using the oranges and the and grey. Well, it's supposed to be like bronzes and silvers, but of course it's a cloth banner. So I gave that a little bit of a go, as close to the artwork as I possibly could, and then I just did some more kind of red mountains to represent the Iron Hills there. So like I say, he's pretty much done. I've got to obviously get the snow onto his base, and then the Iron Hills contingent is completely done. Of course, we do have Thorin and Feely and Keely there, which I'll move on to down the line. But the first antagonists to the Iron Hills dwarves, like I say, I wanted to paint Bayon in the background for a bit of fun. So you've already seen quite a bit of Bayon. I'm actually really pleased with Bayon's base. If I bring him out, I'll give you a little bit of a shot off. I think his snowy base has turned out possibly the best. Really pleased with Bayon. A couple of little chips already on him, which is a bit of a shame, even though he's plastic. I think that's because I've painted directly on top of the undercoat rather than going over it again, or the primer as it were. But he's in there. That will give us an opportunity to learn some of the monster rules. So the first antagonist army, so the first thing that the Iron Hills dwarves are going to be up against in my little campaign are down here, and it is the Warg army. The Warg army. So in the Battle of Five Armies box set, you've got Warg riders, so you've got goblins on wargs. You've got just a pure Warg army, and then you've also got goblin infantry as well. And I thought I'd make these the first antagonist purely for the fact that it's a more straightforward paint job, so it'd be quicker for me to do. So if I just come in and zoom in here, you can see that, if we just stop there, you can see that I've gone for two different colour schemes on the wolves. We've got some wolves which are brown, and we've got some which are sort of blacky grey, really, and both primed with black. Then the grey wolves were dry brushed in Eshin grey, and then with the what's it called, grey, the grey that I use all of the time. I can't remember what it's called. Dawnstone. That's the one. With the Dawnstone grey, then I actually put a wash over them, and then I did the Dawnstone again, and Dawnstone with a little bit. So I've actually probably done more highlighting processes with these guys than what maybe you need to with them being at 10mm, but I'm quite pleased with how they've turned out. Then obviously with the brown ones, they had Rhinox hide, dry brushed with Mournfang. I inked them with Agrax, I then dry brushed with a Mournfang again, and then a Mournfang 50-50 with Steel Legion Drap. And then you can also see that they've got sort of like tan muzzles and sort of a tan around their ears. So if I just spin that round, so all of them have got that. And that's an XV88. Now these guys aren't completely complete, as it were. They need snow added into the bases as well. With Dain, they're part of that batch for the basing. But what they also need doing, as you can see on some of these front ones, I've started to do the teeth. I've not completed the teeth on all of these yet. It was getting a little bit late, and I've not done the eyes. But when they're done, this army will be done. But of course, with all armies need a leader. So if we zoom out there, all armies do need a leader. And what I'm going to be working on for this one, I've made a start on him, but nowhere near finished, is I'm going to be doing one of the Goblin Chieftains. But my goal here is to paint him like Azog. So he's going to be a pale orc, he's going to be on the white warg. So as much as possible trying to make him look like the Defiler from the movies, because that's my goal here with the box set, is to try and tie it in with the movies as much as possible, even though it's not designed to be such. So he's a little way off being done. I'll probably work on him at the same time as finishing the Warg bases, and that will give us our two opposing forces for the start of this Battle of the Five Armies Slow Grow campaign and Let's Try Tuesday on the GBHL podcast and Hotgates Gaming. So remember, if you want to support any of that content, do get yourself onto my Hotgates Gaming Patreon. Even if it's $1 a month, if you think the content that I produce is worth $1 a month, then it really does help me take the time off to be able to do all of these things. Really appreciate you following these hobby vlogs. If you want to see more hobby vlogs for the Battle of Five Armies box set, do let me know. I probably won't be back with another one of these. It's probably going to be looking at finishing my Royal Guard next, and also I have some Rivendell Knights that need doing for the Nova Open, so about 4 of those. So don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Make sure you support your Hobbit host by checking the links in the video description below. Check out our Facebook and our Twitter and all of our sponsors as well. Support your Hobbit hobby, and as ever, happy strategy battle gaming.